A Hymn for the Hurting. It's written by Amanda Gorman on May 27th as an editorial in the New York Times. Everything hurts. Our hearts shadowed and strange. Minds made muddied and mute. We carried tragedy, terrifying and true, and yet none of it is new. We knew it as home, as horror, as heritage. Even our children cannot be children. Cannot be. Everything hurts. It's a hard time to be alive, and even harder to stay that way. We're burdened to live out these days, while at the same time blessed to outlive them. This alarm is how we know we must be altered, that we must differ or die, that we must triumph or try. Thus, while hate cannot be terminated, it can be transformed into a love that lets us live. May we not just grieve, but give. May we not just ache, but act. May our signed right to bear arms never blind our sight from shared harm. May we choose our children over chaos. May another innocent never be lost. Maybe everything hurts, our hearts shadowed and strange, but only when everything hurts may everything change.
Okay, freedom unites us, injustices divide us. Let love conquer all. Why must it be difficult? We all deserve to be free. That's it.
Of a speech that Lincoln gave to the Congress 10 weeks after he issued the Emancipation Proclamation. And of course, he dealt with a lot of opposition from that. We can only succeed by concert. It is not, can any of us imagine better, but can we all do better? The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. We of this Congress and this administration will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance or insignificance can spare one or another of us. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or dishonor to the latest generation.
My name is Susan Bowden. I'm a teacher librarian in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm live on my Twitter feed also because I have students who are sitting at home waiting to hear me read this. I'm speaking for fourth graders who believe in hope and kindness. They wrote a poem and it took 6 weeks. Their title, Kindness is Our Superpower. This is for Addie, Amira, Audrey, Beckett, Caleb, Dante, Delia, Gavin, George, Hunter, Kali, Lila, Lilia, and Lily, Logan, Maddie, Marianne, Noelle, Russell, Sam, Shayna, Sophia, Xavier, and their teacher, Mrs. Parmigiano. Kindness is love. Kindness is caring. It's shown through actions like helping and sharing. It's picking people up when they fall and not hurting people or stealing their ball. In kindness, we can help our friends. Kindness helps all people mend. Kindness and peace walk hand in hand, and when we finally take a stand, peace arrives and anger dies. If we work together, humanity thrives. Rather than kind actions, meek and small, make them grow big and flow like a waterfall. Please bring peace. Please bring calm. With no peace, there's war, which leads to bombs. Instead, show kindness, love, and so much more. That's what we need to end a war. Bam, bam, boom, boom. No more. The calm of peace connects us. Peace is friendship and togetherness. Treat others in the way that you expect them to treat you too. Your kindness is just locked inside. Have you even really tried? Without our love and heart, this mixed up world might fall apart. We have hope, a budding flower from which we draw strength and power. Everyone needs kindness. It keeps the world in brightness. Peace is the flowers in the fields. Peace makes war yield. We all need to unite and be in peace, not have war, but have one big feast. The power of kindness makes anger yield. Let's keep peace unsealed and use kindness as our shield. I love you all. Thank you for writing this poem for us.
And it's called Do It Anyway. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you have got anyway. You see, hold on. In the final analysis, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Mother Teresa.
So I am Katina, and I am going to write something about always to be mindful of just the little things. This is really loud. This is a poem called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd of hosts of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprinkling dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a drunken company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye, which is bliss of solitude. And when my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to share two poems. They're very, very short. Both that I wrote this week. One is the one we wrote outside of FDR after we learned about the cherry tree. So this is a Tanka poem, so 57577. Cherry trees flourish with strong roots deep in the earth, sustaining all life. Likewise, we must stand rooted to give life to hope and peace. And this one I wrote today. It's called Mayonnaise. Dukes versus Hellmans. The right answer is Dukes, but there is room for both.
This is a free verse poem that I wrote on the day of the Supreme Court Justice ruling, and be kind. I wrote it. November 2016 rocked my world. I was battered and bruised, beaten by an opponent I didn't see coming. It wasn't that my candidate lost or that another one won. It wasn't politics. It was a punch in the gut. Pain had dropped me to my knees. I don't have to listen to you, spewed a student the very next day. Haven't you heard? Women don't matter anymore. I replied with bravado, showing no fear, but deep down inside, I was shaken to the core. It's beginning, I thought. My foundation of being a woman whose right to vote was a birthright, whose feminism was won while still sporting pigtails, whose confidence in her brains and ability were hard-grained and firm, are rattled by an earthquake and a crack was born. Yesterday, a crack. Today, a sinkhole. Today's ruling by the highest court in the land isn't politics. It's a punch in the gut. Pain has dropped me to my knees. Haven't you heard? Women don't matter anymore.
Okay. I picked America by Claude McKay. It says, although she feeds me bread of bitterness and sinks into my throat her tiger's tooth, stealing my breath of life, I will confess I love this cultured hell that tests my youth. Her vigor flows like tides into my blood, giving me strength erect against her hate. Her bigness sweeps me, being like a flood. Yet as a rebel fronts a king in state, I stand within her walls and will not shred of terror, malice, not a word of jeer. Darkly I gaze into the days ahead, and see her might and granite wonders there. Beneath the touch of time's unerring hand, like priceless treasures sinking in the sand.
So in Atlanta, there is a jazz station, 91.9, and it seemed like for a long time, every morning when I was on my way to work, I would hear the radio announcer say this poem, and I felt like every time it was speaking to me to encourage me. And I wanted to share this with you all. This is the Desiderata by Max Ehrman. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God or whatever you conceive him to be. And wherever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful and strive to be happy.
So this poem is actually the poem that this past school year spoke most to my students as we went through both a forgiveness and a justice unit. It's called Who Burns for the Perfection of Paper by Martin Espera. At 16, I worked after high school hours at a printing plant that manufactured legal pads. Yellow paper stacked 7 feet high and leaning as I slipped cardboard between the pages, then brushed red glue up and down the stack. No gloves, fingertips required for the perfection of paper, smoothing the exact rectangle. Sluggish by 9 p.m., the hands would slide along suddenly sharp paper and gather slits thinner than the crevices of the skin hidden. Then the glue would sting, hands oozing, till both palms burned at the punch clock. 10 years later, in law school, I knew that every legal pad was glued with the sting of hidden cuts, that every open law book was a pair of hands upturned and burning. At Jones Point Park, I seek out the boundary stone in its niche in the retaining wall. When the Potomac River recedes enough to detect the eroding words rimmed in green algae, I picture Banneker camping here that cold, damp spring of 1791. He is 60 years old. He lies supine each night on the ground. This is base camp for calculating the 10-mile square of Washington, D.C. In the dark, he notes the exact moment of each star's transit over the zenith. He gathers all the light of the stars to his thin chest. He is master of the theodolite. In letters, he argues with Thomas Jefferson to wean yourself from narrow prejudices that keep slaves so numerous, a part of my brethren, under groaning captivity and cruel oppression, now in the shadow of a massive steel bridge named for Woodrow Wilson, who declared segregation not humiliation but a benefit. The water makes a hollow pond, and I look across the wide dark river where for 4 months Banneker looked, where, among all surveyors, he completed the most difficult math.
This is something I wrote a couple of weeks ago after I heard a children's book that just touched my heart. So this is called Voice. Given to me, given to you. It's given to be used, given to be grown, given to do good, to bring change, to encourage, to comfort, to exhort, to harmonize, to confront, to connect, to inspire, teach. So much purpose. But this voice, this is mine. You have yours. They're not the same, but that's by design. Give voice. Honor our calling. Have purpose, have worth, have value. Belong. All voices heard. I will give voice. I will listen. Speak.
In my classroom every day, at the end of the morning announcements, they say kindness lives here. And I tell my kids kindness costs you, and they finally figure out it costs them nothing. So my poem is something I wrote for myself. Don't cost a smile, a word, understanding, peace, all don't cost a thing. Hate, division, lies, divisive behavior, all cost you something in the end. Love, hope, kindness, compassion, equality are all free for you to choose. These are free and enrich us all, don't cost anything but gives us so much in return.
Read a quote from Maya Angelou called Tapestry. We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry. And we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter what color they are.
This is a poem by Nikki Giovanni, and I chose this poem because it speaks to me and my childhood. So, Knoxville, Tennessee. I always like summer best. You can eat fresh corn from Daddy's garden, and okra and greens and cabbage, and lots of barbecue, and buttermilk, and homemade ice cream at the church picnic, and listen to gospel music outside at the church homecoming, and go to the mountains with your grandmother, and go barefooted, and be warm all the time, not only when you go to bed and sleep.
Okay. My poem is Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of ties, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Do you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does that come as a surprise? That I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide. Leaving behind the nights of terror and fear I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear I rise. Bringing in the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
This one. This is just a quote. A strong woman is one who feels deeply and loves fiercely. Her tears flow just as abundantly as her laughter. A strong woman is both soft and powerful. She is both practical and spiritual. A strong woman in her essence is a gift to the world.
Okay, this is a poem by Robert Longley, and it's a poem about both a concept and the person, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, my hero. There can be no justice if we sit idly by. There can be no hope of change if people do not try. This is not a task for one group. It affects both black and white. The same is true in policy on the left and on the right. We must grow beyond labels. We must all stand as one. This is a time of challenge, and much work must be done. I know we can be better. We all must rise above. If we are to find true justice, first we must find love.
Reading now.
It keeps me awake, the look on your face, the moment you heard the news. You're screaming inside and frozen in time. You did all that you could do. The game was rigged. The ref got tricked. The wrong ones think they're right. You were outnumbered. This time. But only the young. So every day now, you brace for the sound you've only heard on TV. You go to class scared, wondering where the best hiding spot would be. And the big bad man, his big bad clan, their hands are stained with red. Oh, how quickly they forget. They aren't going to help us. They're too busy helping themselves. They aren't going to change this. We have to do it ourselves. They think that it's over, but it's just begun. Only the young. And that is a Taylor Swift song.